Hello students, and welcome to lesson 11. So students, today we're going to be looking at more worded problems to do with simultaneous equations. So here's our sample question. Santo sells shirts for $25. The revenue, R, for selling N shirts is represented by the equation R equals 25N. So what does this mean? Well, basically it's saying the amount of money he makes, Santo's revenue, is equal to 25 multiplied by number of shirts he sells. So in other words, each shirt he sells is $25. $25 multiplied by number of shirts is how much money he's going to make. The cost to make N shirts is represented by the equation C equals 2,200 plus 3N. So what this means, the cost, his manufacturing cost, is equal to 2,200 plus 3 multiplied by however many shirts he makes. Why 2,200? Well, these are probably his fixed costs, his rent, his electricity, his employee wages. No matter what, he has to pay that amount. So, this question is asking us to solve these equations simultaneously to determine the break-even point. So, when unpacking this question, the first thing I did was I wrote both equations that the question gives me. R equals 25N and C equals 2,200 plus 3N. Now students, for those of you who aren't too familiar with the term break even, it means when you break even, that's when your revenue and cost are exactly the same, when your expenses are the same as the amount of money you're earning. So when Santo's revenue and cost are the same, when R equals C, that's when his break even point will be. So when R equals C, R is equal to 25N. So I'm going to replace the letter R with 25N. C is equal to 2,200 plus 3N. So I'm going to replace the letter C with 2,200 plus 3N. So as I've noted here, this is very, very similar to solving by a substitution. I have replaced the letter R with 25N. I have replaced the letter C with 2,200 plus 3N, giving me an equation that I can solve because there's only one set of unknowns. 25N equals 2,200 plus 3N. I can solve. I only have one unknown, N. So students, like I was saying a few lessons ago, I like to move all my letters to the left, all my variables, pronumerals, to the left, and all my numbers to the right. So I moved 3N over here. What's the opposite of adding 3N? Subtracting 3N. This gives me 25N, take 3N, 22N. 22N is equal to 2,200. Then I need to move this 22 over here, over this side. What's the opposite of multiplying by 22? Dividing by 22. 2,200 divided by 22 is 100. I know that looks a little bit like a 6, but trust me students, that is 100. So N equals 100. So in the context of this question, what does that mean? Well, that means Santo needs to sell 100 shirts in order to break even. That's going to earn him, well, if he sells 100 shirts, 25 times those 100 shirts he sells, he's going to earn $2,500. But his costs will also be $2,500. His break-even point is 100 shirts, which will earn him $2,500 in revenue and cost him $2,500 in expenses. Okay, part B says, determine the profit or loss in dollars for the following shirt orders. So if someone orders 75 shirts, is he going to make a profit or loss? Well, given he needs to sell 100 shirts to break even, yeah, we know he's going to make a loss there. But we want to figure out exactly how much of a loss he's going to make on 75 shirts. So the way I set this out, well, I wrote, well, what's the revenue for 75 shirts? How much is he going to earn from selling 75 shirts? Well, 25 multiplied by those 75 shirts he sells. Because remember, he's selling those shirts for $25. If he sells 75 of them, the amount of revenue he's going to be earning is $25 multiplied by the 75 shirts he sells. He's going to get $1,875 in revenue, which is quite a lot really. Oh, I wish I was earning that much. Anyway, the cost for 75 shirts though, recall our cost of shirts is 2,200 plus 3N. Those 75 shirts cost $3 each to make, plus the $2,200 in fixed costs. So 2,200 plus 3 multiplied by 75 gives me $2,425. So students, for those of you who aren't familiar with profit and loss, if you've never done business studies, profit or loss is determined by going revenue less expenses. He made $1,875. It cost him $2,475. So his profit or loss is $1,875, take away $2,425, which gives me negative $550. So therefore, a $550 loss has occurred. Okay, let's look at the second part, 220 shirts. Now, given the break-even point was 100 shirts, he's going to make a profit on 220 shirts, isn't he? But we want to figure out exactly how much profit he's going to make. So students, I set this out the same way I did for the first part of question B. I wrote, well, what's my revenue for 220 shirts? Each shirt, he's getting $25 for. 25 times 220, he's going to make $5,500 in revenue. The cost, however, for these shirts, using this formula again, it's going to be $2,200, his fixed costs, plus $3 for every single shirt he creates, and he's creating 220 shirts, so 3 times 220. His costs for this sale are $2,860. So he's made a profit, hasn't he? He's made $5,500, but it only cost him $2,860 to make those shirts. So the profit, recall, is revenue take expenses. $5,500 take away $2,860. So he has made a profit of $2,640. Of course, it's a worded question, so we need a worded statement. Therefore, a $2,640 profit occurred. Now, students, there is a very, very similar one, which I'd like you to have a crack at yourself. As you can see, guys, there are fully worked solutions here, but I don't see the point in going through them with you when it is more or less what I just went through with Santo there. I want you to have a crack at these questions yourself, then move on to the questions on OneNote. So, guys, have a crack at this question here with Yolanda. This is, of course, available as a PDF on your OneNote. So have a crack at this question here with Yolanda, then move on to the questions in OneNote. Good luck, guys. I'm sure you'll be fine.